have those 14-hour days and then those 3-hour days. You never know what
it's lumpy for sure.
Right. Of course,
not often do we get to meet in a airplane hangar, though.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, with the life flight activated, right?
Right. Stacy, our meeting for OSS was at the Sandusky County Airport in the hangar. So we were in with the life flight helicopter. It was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Do you happen to know which one? Did you see the number on the side of it?
No.
I know that's an odd question, but I remember the helicopter that I was in, so that's why I asked. I know the number, so.
Well, during the meeting, the doors opened, they wheeled it out and fired it up too. So that was
That's cool.
How long ago was that, Stace?
2007.
Wow.
Commissioners, you're clear to start when you're ready.
Clear. I'll give it till 10. Okay, I have 10 o'clock. Let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Commissioner Paradiso, would you like to lead us in a prayer, please?
Let us get in a prayerful state of mind. Dear God, thank you for bringing us all together today. Thank you for the good weather. Farmers are taking the crops off. The kids are outside playing. We appreciate all the good things we have that you've given us. Please guide us through this meeting. Thoughts and prayers go out to the accident that occurred in our county where it took a life of a young girl. We pray for all those with COVID, including our mayor. And we ask that you give us guidance through our meeting today to do the right thing on behalf of the county. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, roll call, Nikki.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Well, it's always the highlight of the meeting, and we've got there early today, so we have a county administrator's report.
Okay, just a quick, I can give you some of the month-end reports. Our revenue at month end, we are sitting at 15.2 million. Collected for the month is 1.5, almost 1.6. Expenses, year to date, we're sitting at 12.4, and monthly expenses were 1.2. I have my CARES Act request. Oh, one other thing first. HSA, the auditor's office is getting ready to send out information for the open enrollments for insurance. And she had asked if the commissioners had discussed any more about our contribution. For 2020, the general funds contribution, we budgeted 168,000 and we spent about 157. That's probably about half. Non-general fund covers the other half. And again, that's for the HSA contribution, $750 for a single and $1,500 for a family. Wasn't sure if we were ready to discuss that yet or not. They'd like to put that in the information with open enrollment, but
If we need a motion, I would motion that we adopt the 750 single and 1,500 family contribution to the HSA.
I'll second that.
Great. That eliminates a lot of discussion. Any other additional discussion about that topic? Hearing none, roll call, Nikki.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes. Just a couple of questions about revenue, Stacy.
sure, yes,
It's 15/2 through September, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, is the 885 number in that 15/2?
yes.
Okay, so if we take the 885 out of that number, that gets us down to 14/4. But even annualizing that 14/4 gets us to well in excess of our target number that we have, the 17.8. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that. So if we take 14/4 and divide it by 9, we're doing about 1.6 a month, and multiply that out, it gets us to somewhere north of $19 million in revenue. And at what point are we going to take the Medicaid money out of there, the revenue? I would like to have it reported without that money, because that was extra money we put in. It's not really money that's been generated this year.
Well, we had a discussion about maybe transferring that money to reserves, and I define reserves as one of two places: into the capital account and the rainy day fund, as I call it.
Right.
So-
We still have time to have that discussion. That's right. But is there anything else in that 15/2 that is not generated in 2020? That's something we added, or anything other than actual income?
Our advances are in there. That's, I guess, technically not revenue. It's just paying back the advance. Trying to see,
And those advances amount to how much?
194,000.
Okay.
Was there an airport transaction?
That's in our projected, because we haven't received that revenue in yet. It's just in the projected as
Okay.
part of that 17.8.
Okay, but again, taking the excess insurance money out, sales tax on the insurance, and also the excess revenue, or those things that we're paying back, we're still touching $19 million on an annualized basis, moving that stuff forward. And we certified, are we back to 17.8? Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I knew where we were standing.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like casinos had another record month. So, that's a good sign for down the road that we'll be seeing some revenue 3 or 4 months down the road.
Do you think we can bet on that continuing?
I'll give you odds.
I'll just make this comment where it's just, let's face it, the revenue, the income stream is much better than anticipated when we met in April. So I concur and feel real good that we're going to finish the year in a good spot. The preliminary sales tax numbers that were published for September indicate that September was ahead by 1% year over year. Still trending pretty well, but not near the margin of that was in August, July, and prior. And so as the stimulus money and things wear out, I think things are still pretty good, but the trajectory of the increase is starting to flatten. And, we just need to be cautious that next year it's going to be flat or could dip a little bit. But very pleasant news. And I agree with you, Mike, everything you said. And I think your math is accurate.
Okay, thanks. Stacy, what else do you have?
Just the, bring up the CARES requests for this week. So as you can see, this week I have a total of $425,689.70 in requests. A couple things. I've asked John Spar and Ken Mangers to be on the line. They had put in a request that the committee approved for some expenses for communication infrastructure for the, help me out, John, interoperability.
That's right, interoperability for, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interoperability throughout the state, region, and county between all emergency services. As the counties around us and the state are upgrading their radio systems, we're starting to lose our ability to communicate with them as they go to digital. On top of that, we have radios and repeaters that are anywhere from 12 to 20 years old, and they're going to start to fail here one at a time. So it was a prudent time to replace, and the CARES Act money is giving us an opportunity to possibly do that. And one of the things that's involved is 2 radios to all the fire departments in the county so that they can continue their interoperability with us and the other counties around us and with each other.
Okay.
And that was, it's all under state term bidding. Because as you know, the state had loosened up some of the restrictions for competitive bidding. This was over the competitive bidding cost, but because it's under our state term pricing, the state's already done the work for us. It's all under the state term contract, so we didn't have to put it out for the bid. The state already did. And it happens to be a local vendor that can do this work for us. So
One question for John, Mike. Nice work, by the way, John, Ken. After this upgrade, will there be a need for additional dollars on top of this?
Not with the, there may be minor charges as we get minor things like brackets and things like that to allow the radios to be put into units, right? Whether it's a squad or into our own radio cabinets, minor things like that, connectivity issues. Those would be very small expenses, but we won't know that till we have the radios in hand. Secondly, the only thing left in our list of things to do for the communication system in the county, and this will allow us to focus on this, is the maintenance and repair of the tower system. So that will allow us to then refocus our time and resources we won't have to worry about the radios. Now it's just the towers. So that's the only expense that's left, which would probably not fall, but we haven't really looked into it. Right now, we just wanted to focus on the radios, and then we'll work on the towers.
Yeah, and the towers, they're an issue no matter if we do this or not. So
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Couple other things. We are looking at, Nikki's been in contact with the scanning company that the IT committee, scanning committee had kind of interviewed a few companies for scanning throughout the county. There was other counties in the state that are looking to do some scanning with COVID funding because it will allow citizens to have access to documents without having to come in and ask for paper copies. They can either be put on websites, and so the citizens can just go in and search themselves, or at least make it electronic. So when they can either call in or email in, say they want a copy of a document. So we're getting quotes for that. The countywide license will be about $10,000, if I remember Nikki correctly. This is the same contract for this company that our auditor uses, and the committee had recommended. We put in $150,000 just as placement. We don't know how much the quotes would be and how many departments would be interested. So just to set aside some of the CARES dollars, knowing that this will have to be spent, the vendors verifying that they can get this done prior to. So that's what the 150 is for. Just making sure I touch on the larger amounts. The treasurer's putting up the barrier. As you know, his office has one side of the wall is only a half wall with a half door. So as with all the other offices, putting the barriers up. The only other thing the committee kind of talked about, which, as you know, we don't decide what's approved and denied. We only determine what we think it would be allowable following the guidance. One of the questions, and I talked to regional planning about this, was their camera system is a different vendor than what we're using for our other buildings. And the committee wanted to recommend that it all stays the same. So that way, for security reasons, everybody in the sheriff's office or Tiffin PD, they could potentially have access to all of them. Regional planning is only one camera. We will have cameras in different areas of that building. So that's a decision up to you. Charlene said she would rather keep this vendor that she has quoted. But the committee did ask me to at least mention we would rather have it all on one system if possible, but each department has their own decisions to make. So that's where we're at for this week. It brings our total to $903,113.99 if all is approved today.
Yeah, going back to the camera situation, I assume that there is some type of maintenance contract with the company on an ongoing basis for all the other offices rather than regional planning. Is that true or not true?
The maintenance is included for the first year, and with the system, there will be ongoing, just like we have for public safety and the youth center.
Well, my concern would be that we would have separate maintenance needs and different people to call if people were using different vendors. It would seem to me that logic would say, good business sense would say that we should all have the same system.
Yeah, I'm for that. Regional planning had a meeting last night, but we weren't aware of it. We could have brought it up then, but.
Okay, well, we can, I mean, I know it's a topic for another day, but
Yeah,
I think the sense of the commissioners is that if possible, we would like everybody to be using the same vendors when they can.
I can pull it off this week, and I can talk to her again about it, and I can put it back on for the following week, if that's what you want.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
Nope, that would take it down to $422,089.70 for this week.
Okay, so you need a motion for approvals of those?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will accept the motion.
so moved.
So moved.
Okay,
Shane, I'll second it. I'll second it then, Shane.
any additional discussion?
Good job.
Hearing none, Nikki, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes. Okay, on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Paradiso, you're up first this week.
Yeah, thanks. Really don't have a whole lot to add. I'll wait till I get to my museum presentation, but I do want to ask the strategic planning meeting that's on the 14th. That's a public meeting and a Zoom meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I just wanted to confirm that. That's it. I'll leave it at that for today. Thanks.
All right, very good. Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see you use interoperability in a crossword puzzle, Commissioner Kirschner.
All right, we'll make that a challenge. Yeah, thanks.
For those who don't know, Commissioner Kirschner is an avid crossword puzzle doer, and he, continues to exercise that mind and expand his vocabulary. So I think, Jimmy, we should make that part of the regular commissioners meeting is one new big word.
I like it. I like it. I'm also going to have crossword puzzle doer as one of the words in there.
Give me a better word for that.
Man who does crossword puzzles. I don't know.
There's also a saying,
we did have a change in management at OSS that was in the paper today, and just a real touch of class yesterday. Commissioner Paradiso, thanked all the employees for all their hard work with OSS, and I thought that was a real class move. So I appreciate you doing that, Commissioner Paradiso. We've got dedicated people working for recycling and reducing waste across 3 counties, and they do a great job, and I appreciate you calling them out in our meeting yesterday morning. So other than that, that's all I got. Be well, Mayor, if you're listening. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to old business. We have a sewer district request. I think Stacy or Nikki, you have that?
Did you want to bring up the CARES request? Did you want to bring that up now or later?
I guess we can do it now. So we're into prior to old business. Yeah, as everyone knows, or has been made aware of, the CARES Act has generated somewhere north of $3 million for Seneca County. Is that right, Stacy?
Yep, I can bring that back up. What's my total? Sheets 3.3.
$3.3 million. Commissioner Thomas, 3 months ago or more, had suggested that we ought to look at this to see if there's anything we can do to assist folks. So, a great idea, but we weren't certain of what kind of money we were going to have available. So, we now know that this money is coming our way, and we also know that it cannot be used directly for some nonprofits. So, my suggestion and my proposal is that we take $1 million of the CARES Act money and disperse it amongst entities that have programs for individuals and businesses and nonprofits that have been adversely affected by this pandemic. I would propose for consideration that we allow Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership, who has a program in place already, $300,000 to be allocated for their program. That $200,000 be designated for Fostoria Economic Development, so they can focus on helping businesses in that community. That $250,000 be allocated to Great Lakes Community Action Partnership as they do home energy assistance program, supplement food programs, help with mortgage payments. Again, that is in place. And an additional $250,000 to Tiffin Seneca United Way. I believe by doing this, we have we will be able to touch as many people and businesses as possible. It's diverse enough that we have Fostoria, that we have Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership, who also has a mission with us to take care of our rural communities and our villages. United Way, we all know their purpose in life is to help those who are in need. And the reason that we chose those folks is that they already have in place programs and application processes to distribute the money. As everyone on the call knows, we need to make these decisions by the end of November, and then the money has to be dispersed by the end of the year. So we need to flatten the learning curve as far as how this stuff would be dispersed. I like the idea because it will touch so many souls out there, and it will also help such places, hopefully, as entertainment venues like the Ritz and other nonprofits that have been significantly impacted adversely by the pandemic. So that's basically my proposal. My proposal is for us to at least consider assigning $1 million of the CARES Act money that's coming to the county to those 4 private groups. Now, I understand the city already has $600,000 out there for people in the city of Tiffin. So the city of Tiffin is approximately 30% of those folks that we represent, someplace in that range. So I think that as a matter of fairness, 30% of the money we should try to focus 30% within the city limits, and then the other 70% in Fostoria, the townships, and the villages. So that's just a couple open comments.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I like it because, it touches some places that haven't been touched yet, the rural businesses, individuals directly, and nonprofits. And I think those are some areas that have been hit hard and may have been overlooked in some of the business loan and grant programs. So yeah, good job, Mike. I appreciate it. I second that wholeheartedly.
Ditto that. We've had a few discussions. My understanding, and David Zach, he'll be on here in a little bit, but the demand for the 600,000, the phone calls, the applications has been more than expected. I mean, it's out there. So there are a lot of people and I have been approached by some nonprofits who aren't eligible the traditional way for this money. And it also trickles down to individuals who were laid off or lost their job, and I love it. So nice job. I really support it.
We're able to allocate it, right? But the real work is from the folks that have to distribute it. So I've got to give kudos to Tiffin Seneca County Partnership, the Great Lakes Community Action Partnership, to United Way, and to Fostoria Economic Development for putting those programs together and having them ready for us, and having the willingness to take those funds, review the applications, and make the decisions as to where they're distributed. So thank goodness for those organizations. It's just another example, how blessed we are in the county with some real good folks. So we have a motion on the floor to accept this proposal. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up, Stacy. So now we can go to the sewer district, I guess.
And I think, Charlene, do you have those?
Jimmy has them as well if you want him to put them up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm here.
I can try to do that. Let me see. I don't have the dual monitors, so we will see here. Nick, can you do it? Is it possible? I mean, you're able to share the screen.
Let me see here.
Yes. No, is it? Yes.
I'm sure we could just read them. Charlene, if you have those.
I do, but I gotta find them. Do you happen to have them right handy?
Yeah, I do right here. I'm getting them.
Well, I don't really think this is a real complicated request, is it here? What from my understanding, okay, so we're gonna get something up here. Okay.
Yeah. What's going on is that Sauber Stumble in Bascom Sewer District would like to have a portion of their bill prorated and no longer have to pay that. due to COVID-19. So what they've requested is that from March 15th to May 15th, their facility was not open for inside service. They don't believe they should be charged with the full amount of service due to that. And they prorated it on their own and only sent us their prorated portion payment. At that time, I called them, explained they needed to put something in writing to us for the commissioners so we can make a formal request. They did do such thing. If you want to scroll down, you can see it. And we submitted that over to the commissioners. There was just some timing issues. That's why it's so late in us getting this over and talking about it. I did communicate with Mark on their request as well. I'm not sure if he's on the call or not today, but we wanted to make sure that we presented that to you for your decision on what you would like to do. Their quarterly amount or their quarterly charge is $425 per quarter, and that's based off of their required EDUs.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, I appreciate the stumble in and that they're a lively place to gather, and it's a great pub. What I would suggest is that they apply through the CARES Act funding. That way it keeps the sewer district whole. That's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, I like that, Shana. The problem is we can't, from my standpoint, it's difficult to cherry pick each individual business that might be on that sewer line, right? I mean, there may be individuals on that line who, could make a claim that, since they're laid off, their bill ought to be less, or maybe they didn't live there for 30 days during that. Whatever. The point is, it could open up an entire can of worms for everybody on that line. So,
well, we have a vehicle in place now to make him whole, and we appreciate that. I think that would be looked on very favorably.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Shane. We just approved $1 million for this kind of thing, and yeah.
Okay, very good. I don't disagree. Let's write to them and tell them they have the ability to apply through a variety of sources for relief.
Okay, I will get that to Sauber Stumble in. I'll get it out to them before I leave for the day today.
And then maybe Charlene, if you would follow up, just as good customer service. So I know as a citizen and a business owner, we don't want them just to get lost in a sinkhole. So maybe you can direct them or hand walk them to the appropriate place to fill out the application.
We will do that as soon as the county's application is up. We will make sure that they have the links and are able to get to it and get them to the right people. That's normal with us. So,
Yeah.
Darlene, can you also contact PJ's Brick House, please?
yes.
Yeah, they requested as well.
You want to do the same thing for PJ's as we are doing for Sauber Stumble in? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, please.
I want to reiterate what Commissioner Thomas has said. These are both great places to dine, great businesses, and we don't want, in any sense of the word, to say that we're trying to prohibit their ongoing operations. We want them to be there, but we think there's a better vehicle for them to get returned their money than taking out of the sewer revenues. Okay, at this point, we have scheduled Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership quarterly report. So trying to respect their time, it is 10:32. We have them scheduled for 10:30, so maybe we can get those folks on at this point. I see Nick and David out there with their smiling faces.
Always.
Yeah.
This is all right.
So David, whenever you would like to begin.
Okay. It's like the screen's up there, correct? Everybody can see that? I'm hoping.
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it. It's great to be here with all of you today. We always enjoy the opportunity to talk to you about what we got going on and how we're working on behalf of the businesses and citizens of Seneca County. We appreciate very much, as always, want to make sure I start that way, your support for all of the organizations doing good things, including us. And so we'll launch right in. I always like to start by talking about, and just recapping. We have a fantastic team. I'm very fortunate. I think the county's very fortunate that we have some great folks. Amy running downtown here in Tiffin, Carol running workforce development, Nick running industrial, commercial, and residential, Audrey running entrepreneurship, community development, as well as rural development, and Sam Bucky, who's kind of our newest member, who's been working and kind of learning what's going on and providing us some additional support. So each of them are going to give some quick updates today. And we'll start with Sam Bucky, who's a student at Heidelberg, working with us in role of business outreach coordinator. Sam, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about what you're doing, that would be great. And we'll start with Sam.
Sure. Thank you, David. Good morning, commissioners and everyone else. Some projects that I've had the opportunity of working on as well as assisting other members of the TSEP team are first is the downtown Tiffin application. My main focus was assisting Audrey as well as Amy on that one is the Tiffin University and Heidelberg student discount card. So every year that comes out and provides businesses downtown that university students can go to. So making the application, the majority of the stuff that I did was I plugged in businesses that were on the student discount card for this year, 2021. With those businesses, I upgraded all of their business hours. If they weren't on there, I added photos to that and also just made sure all the businesses looked the exact same. The next project that I helped Amy Reinhardt assist with was the Summit Stories. So all throughout the month of September, if you saw on Facebook, Amy posted photos, and I'm sure she'll talk about that more later. But so what I did was I found high definition photos of those businesses, just a little about them, as well as their website, social media, and all that, and plugged those in, helped Amy support plug those in, and she posted those on Facebook. The last project that I did was I implemented the tax districts for most of the businesses in Seneca County. And yep, so there you go. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you for your time, everyone.
Okay, thanks very much, Sam. Appreciate it. Again, we're happy to have Sam aboard, and he's doing a great job. With that, we're going to go to our to Carol Kern. Carol, talking about our workforce. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Carol. Is Carol on the line?
I do see Carol in here. I'm not sure if the *6 is working for you. There you go.
Okay. Good morning. There's a lot of things going on in workforce, so I'm just going to hit some of the highlights. The 4CG report was released at the end of June, and the group has been meeting regularly to work on initiatives. The first one we're tackling is how do we keep youth in the area and get young professionals to return. We're working with Terra State to create a series of 30 to 45 second videos showing youth doing fun things in the area, and there will be 1 to 2 per season. Terra State is donating their time, donating the time of their marketing department to create the videos, so at this time there are no costs to anyone. The Northwest Ready project has been renamed Northwest Career Ready. Now that the other 2 committees have outlined their goals, the Communications Committee, which is co-chaired by David Zach and Jody Reinbolt, will become very active. Just to reiterate, the Northwest Career Ready is funded through a grant received by Tiffin City Schools. It's currently open to all schools in Seneca and Sandusky counties to promote work-based learning. The manufacturing showcase normally would have been scheduled for tomorrow. However, due to the pandemic, the showcase has been moved to March and will be a virtual event held in individual schools. It will consist of a video of last year's showcase. We want to show the students what the event normally would have looked like, some employer videos followed by a hands-on activity for the students. We've identified an activity that can be done that allows for social distancing and will promote more than one of the skill sets normally showcased at our event. Our next step is to create a script for the employer videos. We plan for those to include overviews of the facilities, what they do, and the employer doing one of the showcase activities. Our other employer video project is currently on hold. We have 5 videos completed and 7 employers on a waiting list. The completed videos have been posted on the Jobs Seneca County Facebook page and shared with all of the schools. And we hope to begin that work again as soon as we possibly can. The business advisory councils, they have been meeting. We haven't been meeting as much. Tiffin City Schools recently met. They're working on identifying some subcommittees, and the North Central Ohio Educational Service Center, the county BAC, will be meeting soon. Jobs Seneca County, we've increased to 1,938 followers as of this morning, and I hope to have over 2,000 followers by the time of the 1-year anniversary of the page launch last year on March 7th. Year-to-date stats through the end of September. You can see those there, and a list of the 5 employer videos that have been completed. Okay. Business services. I've had 118 job posts so far this year, 11 for first-time users. The incumbent worker training program that reimburses an employer 50% of the cost of training current employees has become very popular. In 2020, almost 41,000 has been approved for 15 applications and training for 55 employees. I currently am working on a very substantial incumbent worker training application for an employer with facility in Fostoria and another in Wyandotte County. I'm working with my agency, the Wyandotte County JFS, Economic Development in both counties, and the Greater Ohio Workforce Board to secure the total amount requested for that funding. The first application is to train the trainers, so the employer has subject matter experts to train employees with their ultimate goal to have registered apprenticeship programs for all the occupations in the 2 facilities. Just as a side note too, I'm working still with Morgan Advanced Materials, Now Milling, and Grammar, and so far we have a total of 17 Workforce Board sponsored apprentices between those 3 facilities. And last but not least, we've had a total of 5 youth in the work experience program with over 7,000 paid to Pyramid to be the employer of record for 5 youth to be in a work experience this year. At this time, we have 1 active work experience. Are there any questions for me?
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. Moving right ahead to Audrey Flood.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. Thanks for having me, guys. I want to start right off by just thanking you for your discussion today about using CARES funds to support local businesses. As your rural development manager, this is something that I really appreciate, and I know the businesses that I talk to are going to very much appreciate as well. A resource like this for businesses doesn't come along very often, so I'm very happy to be able to spread the word about what you're doing for them to the businesses. So thank you again for that support. So moving into rural development first, so the townships and villages, I continue to rotate around to meetings when possible and just touch base with what's going on and continue to remind them of the services that we can provide, continuing to grow those relationships and make it known that we are available for help. There are some villages who are starting to explore some initiatives or want to put some effort into doing some activities in their villages that I'm assisting with, so that's pretty exciting. I continue to grow the Rural Digest newsletter and try to get that out to more and more people. Just a reminder to let me know if you'd like to be added to that mailing list. For outreach and insight in the rural businesses, I continue to do our insight calls or just checking in with the businesses. I was able to deliver a number of PPE kits to rural businesses during the 3rd quarter. Those were free kits through Jobs Ohio. Those were much appreciated. I've also been working with the chamber a little bit to get the word out about some stories with rural businesses and really kind of shine a little bit of a spotlight on them. Also just continuing to familiarize myself with resources through USDA, SBA, a few things through OSU Ag Extension, and there are a few other rural financing opportunities. I was able to connect some businesses with resources during the 3rd quarter that they were very grateful for. As far as some rural specific projects, during Q3, Hoffbauer Demolition and Dumpster Rental announced a huge investment and expansion. They're located in McCutcheonsville in Seneca Township. It's a young couple that is building their business up. Buckeye IT also announced an expansion of their business that'll reach throughout the county. And they are obviously the ones who put in the charging stations there at your building as well. Just today, we were able to announce Lane of Dreams grand reopening with their new business model or expansion today. And then there are several other confidential projects that are not ready to announce yet, but there are about a little over 30 active rural projects at the moment. Moving into entrepreneurship and small business. So our Entrepreneurship Committee that was launched at the beginning of the year, we were able to get that relaunched after COVID issues sort of slowed down in August. Our main goal with that committee right now is guiding the strategic planning effort. That is for, not just the city of Tiffin, but for the whole county. We appreciate Jimmy's input to that committee as well, and as we have launched the strategic planning for that group. So the initiatives in entrepreneurship, the main thing right now would be the strategic planning, and that is, again, what we're doing, partnering with GLCAP, the Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. Their rural community action staff has a grant that is helping us be able to fund our strategic planning effort. The other big initiative under entrepreneurship is the Seneca CEO Program. I hinted at this last time I was here, but wasn't able to fully announce it. We did announce that to the public during the last quarter and have had great response. There's a lot of momentum with the CEO. Again, that is creating entrepreneurial opportunities is what CEO stands for. There's momentum and a lot of moving parts on that right now. And that is something that really focuses on our rural partners leading that initiative. We have really great rural businesses like North Central Electric, Sutton Bank, Bascom Communications, and we also have some rural schools that are leading that as well. We're actively recruiting community support and investors right now for that. So if you'd like to reach out either personally or on behalf of a business, please reach out and see how you can get involved and help us spread the word about it. And we are on track to launch that program in the fall of 2021 to actually begin serving students. Moving into community development. I am continuing to learn more and manage the CDBG process, Community Development Block Grant for the City of Tiffin. I'm continuing to wrap up the 2018 grant cycle, which was Riverview Park, and I'm also managing our 2020 application, which was for Nature Trails Park, both in the City of Tiffin. Other grants and projects that were notable, the Jefferson Street Streetscaping Project was just announced as completed this week, and that was a grant that I helped facilitate through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. The Ymca Playground Project was also completed during Q3. That was a partnership between the Lowe's Heroes private funding program, as well as local foundations, including Tiffin Community Foundation, Gilmore Foundation, and also some labor from the Colombian football team, as well as Webster. So that was a really great community project that I was able to help kind of pull some people together to complete. Moving on to the Committee for Community Development in the City of Tiffin, Tiffin Community Development Committee. I've been assisting with facilitating that committee, which is guiding the work of the direction of community development within the city. The main thing that committee has focused on, David and I have partnered on the Project Identification and Prioritization Process, PIPP. This is again based on the Dayton model, and the goal is to really gather a broad list of projects that the citizens and organizations and elected officials want, and then effectively harness more funds than we were able to harness before. We localized and customized the plan. The committee approved it. David and I worked really hard on that. And we are now executing our communications plans for that. So we are trying to get the word out about this to the public, to citizens, to elected officials, and to any organizations that might want to submit a project for prioritization for this year, along with other projects. What we are calling this initiative, because PIP and TCDC aren't very public friendly, we are calling it Dream Big Tiffin. It was a way that I decided could kind of get across what we're wanting people to do. What's the vision? And we really want people to dream big with their ideas so that we can, use our resources the best way possible to improve Tiffin. So if you see signage and information about Dream Big Tiffin, call me up if you have any questions, but we're just requesting that people are submitting their ideas to make the city better, and then we will be working through prioritizing those and ultimately funding and supporting the top projects throughout the next year. Again, that application to submit either an idea or a full-blown project proposal, that opened on September 1st and it will close on November 12th. Again, reach out to me or David with any questions about that. We would love to get you involved. Another initiative is the Farmers Market and Seneca County Common Ground. This sort of intersects all three of my areas. There is some connection with small business, definitely community development, and rural businesses are definitely involved as well. So the main initiative of the new nonprofit that we helped set up this last year is the Farmers Market, which tripled in size over this season, actually almost quadrupled now with this upcoming market, I'm just realizing. And the customer base grew as well. So despite the COVID restrictions and having to move the market mid-season because of the Jefferson Street project, we still were able to quadruple the size of the market this year. So that was really a great success, and we're wrapping it up. If you haven't been to a market, please come out either this weekend or on the 24th. The other initiative through Seneca County Common Ground is the Community Kitchen. So I wasn't able to talk about it the last couple times I've been on, but I've been heavily involved in that process. And as you now know from last week's meeting, we have announced that project to the public. I think this is going to be a really great community development initiative for the community, and I'm so happy to be supporting it. Again, this is the kitchen that is the expansion that is proposed at Old Trinity Church that will serve, it is not a soup kitchen, it will serve community groups, it will provide service opportunities, education opportunities, and just general community and connection around local food. And I'm really grateful, I want to note, for the leadership that we have in Aaron Gerlach, who is both the pastor at Old Trinity and our board president at Seneca County Common Ground. So both of those groups have been huge supporters of that project, and I'm really grateful for their leadership. And then Common Ground is also engaged in some other local food initiatives. But other than that, I continue to do my other administrative duties, growing our social media following on all 4 platforms, supporting downtown initiatives, doing financial, organizational, administrative tasks, and assisting with other projects like the Tiffin Cares and Seneca Cares programs that David will talk about. But I will leave it there. I want to thank you all for your continued support, allowing me to provide services for your Seneca County businesses and citizens. Do you guys have any questions about any of those things I very quickly rambled through?
Okay, thank you very much, Audrey. Really appreciate it. Moving on to Nick Dutrow, who runs our commercial, industrial, and residential development. Off to you, Nick.
All right, thank you. Glad to be here today. So really quick, we'll hit on some major announcements we've had recently as far as project goes. So first off, Dutrow Home investing more than $3 million in its plant in Tiffin, adding 87 new jobs. One of the biggest projects I've ever worked on here at TCEP. This was a huge project, a great win for Seneca County. So very excited about being able to announce that one. American Plastics, again, invested in the community $7 million into its operations here in the Airport Industrial Park, just outside of the city of Tiffin. Webster Industries also invested $3 million in new machinery and equipment this year, and that makes for about $5 million in investments for the past 2 years, which is excellent news for Webster. And finally, Arnold Machine acquired a division of a Finley company. Will be producing their parts here in Tiffin at their facility and adding 13 jobs. So all really great news for some established companies that continue to grow in our area. And we'll have more announcements, I hope, in the next few months. We've got some major industrial projects that I continue to work on and track, and some commercial projects that we're very excited to hopefully announce very soon here. So outside of projects, a number of initiatives that I've been working on. First, we are in the midst of our business retention and expansion talks with companies, meeting with companies, both just as TCEP, as David or myself, but also we partner with our folks at Regional Growth Partnership and Jobs Ohio, get into businesses and talk to them. Also, as we are working through the need for housing, and residential development in Seneca County. We continue to work with developers on projects that they're doing, and this really came out of the housing studies released last year. In September, we helped Zeiss Development announce that they're planning to build 48 new condo units in 3 locations in Tiffin, and hopefully they're not the only one. I know that there's some other projects that we are working on, and hopefully have some more great announcements about new housing coming here soon. Next, a few months ago, David and I reconvened the Economic Development Committee. I understand there's a couple of, or at least one commissioner is on that board. We have many people from our other organizations throughout the county who sit on that board with us. Just recently, we announced with Omnitrax, our partners at Omnitrax, that we are now marketing 3 sites on the short line rail. And the whole idea behind the Economic Development Committee is finding new industrial opportunities, either land for another industrial park maybe, or a new site spec building, trying to grow our industrial options that we have out there. Additionally, I recently submitted the City of Tiffin's 40-acre site on Mall Road for the Jobs Ohio Site Ohio program, which again will better position it as a development-ready site. And then finally, I wanted to mention that I am working through my Ohio Certified Economic Development Professional status. Recently completed all the core courses that are part of that. And just yesterday registered to be in the 4th capstone project that will gain me my certification that I need for that. So very great to be doing that, and grateful for TCEP to be supporting me through that. Finally, let me get into some media and communications. As I mentioned, we've had a number of great announcements recently. Thus far in 2020, TCEP has sent out 59 press releases. We've resulted in 171 stories in print and digital media, which is fantastic, and 21 TV segments. We've had a lot of draw in the regional market with our stories, getting out to many, many organizations. Finally, as well as our traditional media, we've also been working very diligently on getting out communications to members, to people in the community through our digest, our email blasts. So I've sent out now 6 development digests, and I have another one coming out this week. So just sharing that good news with everyone right in your inbox. And if you're interested in that and aren't already on there, please let me know. We'd be happy to add you to the list.
Thanks, Nick. Any questions for Nick at this point? All right. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Good job. Heading to Amy. Talk about downtown, Tiffin.
Good morning, everybody. I'll try to keep this brief. Just this quarter, we have had 2 new business announcements, Kessler & Co. and Moto Mortgage. We have currently 50 downtown different projects going on, from the outside projects going on at Hempy Water, 65 East Market Street, interior project, 92 South Washington. We've got a lot of great work going on at Bears Den. The kitchen project was just announced over at Old Trinity. We've got infrastructure projects on Jefferson Street. We're working with so many, and believe it or not, entrepreneurs right now that are interested in starting up small businesses. It is incredible just to see how much is happening right now despite all of that's going on. So 8 total new businesses this year, and $2.6 million so far this year in investment. You can go to the next slide, David. Initiatives. So the DORA is currently in place that will expire at the end of this year. So we are working with the city of Tiffin to implement the 2021 DORA. We are working to try to work out all the bugs. We have had no complaints with the DORA so far this year, and it is actually serving its purpose. So it has been a wonderful asset to our downtown bars and restaurants. It is starting to make up some of the lost revenue that they would have seen had they been open to full capacity. So that is working very, very well. But it's increasing foot traffic downtown, which is in turn increasing traffic within our retail shops as well. Food truck policy. This was something that has come up many times over the last couple of years. And we are to a point now, Business Enhancement Committee was working on that. It went over to the city, and they're going to be designated areas within the downtown parking lots where the food trucks will be able to park. They are eliminating on-street parking for food trucks for 1, safety purposes, and 2, to eliminate the possibility that a like food truck could park in front of a like brick and mortar business, which is a problem. So working on getting that finalized. First reading was just this week over at City Council. A number of great donations and grants that we received. Downtown picnic tables. We did receive a grant from the White Family Fund for nearly $7,000. That, in conjunction with a local downtown business, we were able to purchase 9 picnic tables. They will be downtown permanently, seeing as how the current tables that we have from the parks will be going back at the end of the season. Bike racks, we had a generous donor that purchased 10 bike racks. The city installed their half, and the other 5 will be installed by individuals because it's on private property, but along Washington Street. And finally, Pitch Party with Heritage Ohio, we were able to receive $665 worth of they were votes, but they were donations at the same time. And so we will be able to purchase 6 cigarette butlers for downtown, as we've discovered during our cleanups that 80 to 90% of what we're picking up is actually not trash, but it is cigarette butts. So those are on their way. I currently have 4 downtown businesses that have expressed interest in those. So I will be working to get the last 2. You can move on to the next one. Perfect. Media, as Nick mentioned, a lot of WTOL coverage. They just did a story on the new kitchen project downtown. They've covered a number of great things happening downtown. We've had the AT has been great support. Revitalized Magazine highlighted Tiffin just this summer for the great work that the community is doing during the shutdown. Haley from Small Town Charm did come out and do a little hype video for our community. North Coast Business Journal highlighted the downtown facade projects last month that were funded by Heritage Ohio with that grant. And Cleveland Production Company came out and did a Sony TV hype video. You can go on, David. And we had our downtown summit just last week. That was a great event. We had nearly 150 people attending, whether they were on Zoom, whether they watched on Facebook Live, or we had 2 different groups over at Empire as well as the Ironwood Steakhouse. So great attendance for that event. We were able to announce at that event our Heritage Ohio State Award. So we once again received 2 more awards. One of them was Historic Farmstead of the Year for Winterberry Farm. Now I realize that is not downtown, but it is a historic renovation repurposed project. So it was a fantastic fit for Heritage Ohio. The second one was downtown placemaking for the state of Ohio. That was the Frost County Amphitheater at the East Green and National Corner. Clearly, 2 projects that were well deserving of those awards. And as Sam mentioned, please go ahead and get online to the Downtown Tiffin Facebook page and take a look at the summit stories. We thought we would fit them all in September. However, when you've got over 170 businesses, they are still ongoing. So please check that out. And we do still have the summit stroll going on downtown. So if you haven't walked around where the little sidewalk stickers are located, the QR codes will bring up projects and business information in video form. So please go ahead and check that out. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. I think the Winterberry Farm Project is a great example of how downtown efforts spill out in the entire county and how it's really about creating a heartbeat. And that heart's pretty big, and we're super excited about that. And fantastic job as we, like all the entities, are trying to figure out how to do creative ways to engage people, both in the kind of free online downtown summit and then the being able to walk downtown the stroll. I just really appreciate the more than 50 volunteers that are involved with that. So I'm going to kind of do, we're about 25 minutes in, so I'm going to try to wrap it up pretty quickly and talk about some of the results that we've seen from a big 10,000 foot view and strategy heading into the 4th quarter. So you heard a lot of the announcements, 20 different announcements just for the 3rd quarter. Super exciting. New businesses, $24 million in new investments, more than 100 new jobs throughout the county. Very, very exciting time to be in this neck of the woods in Tiffin and Seneca County. So by the numbers, we look at what we tracking it through the year. This is everything from somebody starting a business or investing a couple $1,000s on the front of their building to $10 million in residential development or $10 million in industrial development. 360 new jobs. This obviously isn't net jobs because there's huge negative impact from the coronavirus pandemic, but it does balance some of that out, having such a strong economy coming out as we begin to regain and begin to claw back to where we were. $82 million in announced investment and almost $2 million in the value of the assistance that's been provided that we tracked so far, and we anticipate that going up. So pipeline, I always like to give you an idea. We're going to be getting out our quarterly report. Should be done by the end of the week. So you'll see, you'll be able to look at all these announcements and all these projects and all the initiatives in detail, just sharing a little bit from that report. So you can see that downtown Tiffin's got a lot going on. 40 projects going right now in rural Seneca County, and Audrey's running with a lot of those. And so we're excited to see some of the distribution. And you can see that the vast majority of projects, this is always the case, we're working with our existing businesses first and foremost. So moving on to, so what we told you last time is that we were going to be working on trying to connect intentionally with businesses. We continue to do that. We feel good about that. And 4th quarter is going to really crank that up with something new I'll talk about at the end. Focus on our planning efforts, execute our communication and marketing strategy, and solve the real estate challenge. We've been working very hard on those in quarter 3. A lot of planning efforts, a lot of strategic efforts. So downtown Tiffin completed, went on a one-day summit, completed scope of work. We sent out our member survey. We're going to, I think much more kind of upping our game in terms of the kind of information we're asking for. We'll be going, continuing to work on our strategy, trying to be innovative. Carol talked about the 4CG group. We're beginning plans, putting plans in place to update our comprehensive economic development strategy, both from a regional standpoint and local as we head into 2021. And Northwest Career Ready, Carol talked about that. So a lot of activity in the 3rd quarter as we're really trying to think, how do we move the needle on some of these significant issues? Audrey talked about community development in terms of the projects identification and prioritization process and the comp plan. That's launched, getting more ideas than we've ever gotten before from the public, and then working on defining those into projects. So excited about that effort. Then we talked about entrepreneurship development. Audrey also touched on the strategic plan and Seneca CEO, which is a great program. Really appreciate North Central Electric and their leadership along with Sutton Bank and kind of seeding that with the initial $40,000. And then we're also, I talked to you about the policy development for how, projects in downtown Tiffin owned by public entities. So we have a draft RFP process that we'll be getting to the city of Tiffin and also to the folks who work at it here. So we made progress on that. There's a lot more initiatives we're going to be working on. So again, some of the planning efforts pretty strong in Q3, and then kind of ending up with a new initiative. So COAC, so we've engaged, thanks to Carol Kern and a grant, and other sources, we're going to be hiring COAC to reach out throughout the county and increase our reach and making sure we're touching base with businesses about the upcoming Seneca Cares grant program, both here and in Fostoria. We're very excited about that, as well as doing the CARES program, another big initiative, and as well as how do we get better and more efficient, more effective, and enjoy our work more. So we as a team are taking a lot of look internally. How can we get better? How can we have more fun? And how can we really deliver better value? And so those three things go together. Those are not separate. And so we want to make sure we're performing at the highest possible level. So how do we innovate internally, work on the business, not just in the business? And I will, with that, Jimmy, if you can end the sharing, that would be great. Let me see if I can. Do I have to do it?
I think you might have to do it.
Okay.
It should be an end share button maybe at the top if you scroll over.
Sorry about that. Oh, there we go.
I think I got you. Okay, we're good.
Thank you very much. Perfect.
Yep, thank you.
Any questions for me or the rest of the team?
No, we just ask you to use our $400,000 wisely to the population, right?
Will do.
A great report. Good job, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Mr. Paradiso, best part of the meeting, right? You got a report to present today?
I don't know, that we've had a pretty good $1 million, and that TSEP report was pretty impressive. So, I'd like to, I do have a report, and I'd like to.
Commissioner Paradiso, you got put on mute. Sorry about that. I was trying to let someone in the meeting and my button moved on me. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, we've had some good things discussed today. But Shane, I'd like to say I came back from my bike ride last night, and then I put this proposal together, but I would be lying to you. It's taken a little bit longer than that. And it's a little wordy. I ran it by Jimmy, but I wanted to make sure that I put in writing my thoughts. I'll give you an example. Tuesday night, I was at New Riggle to the EMS district meeting there. We had a great dialogue as far as transparency and communication and the vision of EMS from their perspective. And one of the things I brought up was, we do need to communicate better. We said in our meeting discussing EMS, we even had Dale Thornton on the call. City administrator basically said that the city of Tiffin is not interested in working with the county as far as EMS, but would support and supports the county's initiatives. And then I reminded the New Riggle people that the next day on Facebook, one of their residents put on there that how can the commissioners sell our souls to the city of Tiffin? So the answer back from them was, well, that's Facebook. So I just wanted to try to put out there in writing kind of a summary of this whole museum process as I see it. There's been a lot of good work done here, and I appreciate all the people that reached out to me. I appreciate Commissioner Kirchner and Thomas taking the lead and submitting their thoughts. So with that, we'll get started as we look forward to what we can do with the museum. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go to the timeline.
Yep, go ahead and bear with me. Okay, I think I've got this. Just let me know when you want me to start moving forward, okay?
Okay. So I'd like to just go back on March 19th, the museum closed due to the COVID epidemic. And then on April 10th, when the county made financial cuts, the museum director was laid off. And then on July 30th, the commissioners were presented an unsolicited proposal from the Barnes Deinzer Seneca County Museum Foundation to take over the operation and control of the museum. And those events caused all of us to pause and maybe take a look at the museum as it is, and then what are we going to do going forward. With that, on the 27th, Commissioner Thomas made his proposal. September 3rd, Commissioner Kirschner made his proposal. And then today, I'm making my proposal. I guess I have the benefit of going last and of taking a lot of these thoughts and ideas and trying to put them in my own summary in my own way. Next slide. So I do believe in the museum. I want everyone to know, as a commissioner, as a citizen of Seneca County, I like our museum. I believe in the museum. It was a gift to us back in 1942, and the county owns the museum. So all those that say we're going to give up control of the museum, that's not true. The county owns the building, the facilities, the grounds, and owns most of the contents that are in the museum. And the county commissioners have supported this museum financially for a long, long period of time. So I want everyone to know, and then I really feel a fiduciary responsibility as a commissioner to really take a pause, look at this museum, everything that's in it, and try to make the best decision I can based on the information I have, taking into account all of this and the information that I've received. Next slide. As you can imagine, over the last several months, I've received a lot of information. I recently visited the museum, walked through it. I've interviewed many people from all sides of the issue, from the foundation, from Historical Society, community stakeholders. I've read a lot of documentation. I've spoke with several former commissioners, talked with the Ohio History Connection, people at the Hayes Presidential Center, people in Wood County and their museum and kind of how they're structured. I can't tell you the emails, the phone calls, the personal visits that I had. And then I really took a lot of time as well to study my fellow commissioners' thoughts and ideas and try to get a perspective from what they're thinking as well in making my decision. Next slide. So what I'm going to talk about, having listened to everyone and considering all the viewpoints, I'm proposing a compromise or a blended of all these, of all the information that I've obtained. No one gets exactly what they want, but everyone gets something, meaning all the people that have input, they have a passion for the museum. They want the museum to succeed. And it's kind of like EMS. We need to open it up, listen to everybody, and then try to all work together to make things for the county better. I think that applies here with the museum. We have a lot of ideas and a lot of proposals. And if everyone will work together and they're willing to compromise on some aspect of what they want, then the biggest winner in this will be the county and the museum. So this proposal requires involvement and teamwork from the Historical Society, Barnes Deinzer Foundation, and the county commissioners. So the next few slides, I will break down my proposal for each of the involved groups. Barnes Deinzer Foundation. So my proposal would be that we enter into a 3-year contract with Barnes Deinzer, giving them the operational control of the museum. The foundation would be financially responsible for operation, the expenses above the utilities and basic maintenance that the county pays for now, but would also be involved in any major capital improvement projects. The foundation will work on fundraising ideas and opportunities with the long-term goal of reducing the museum's reliance on county funding. They would be tasked with hiring the director, creating and executing the marketing plan, scheduling tours, events, working with schools, educational programming, collaboration with area businesses, and maintaining a building and creating a long-term facility plan. The building does have some major capital requirements, and so we would suspect and expect the foundation to, along with John, our facilities director, to put something together addressing that. Next, the Historical Society. This organization is full of volunteers with great institutional knowledge, passion, and ideas. They're just great people. And we must thank them and give them credit for their dedication and resiliency and passion for the museum. Under my plan, the museum would bring back former director Tanya Hufford in a new role. We would cut her hours to 30 hours a week. She can maintain her benefits, and she would be an employee at the museum. In cooperation with the foundation, Tanya and other volunteers could be assigned projects such as the inventory, Facebook page management, general programming and displays, maybe rotating different displays throughout the museum, the bicentennial preparations, several ongoing and future improvement projects, such as the glass case and the carriage house that would need to be decided and revisited with the foundation, but they would have part of that. They could be docents. They could help with tours. And that's a passion of everyone from the Historical Society. Next slide. Seneca County. What's in it for the county? Well, the county would continue to pay offered salary and continue with the light maintenance and utility cost of the museum. We would save about $10,000 annually, and making the future of the museum less reliant on the unpredictable swings in our economy. I really think it would create synergies, maximizing the efforts of the people most passionate about the museum and directing those efforts, the direction of those efforts. Restructuring opens the door for other stakeholders from across the county to become more involved, such as the Visitors Bureau, schools, and many other groups. It's not the Historical Society's museum, or it's not the foundation's museum, it's the people's museum. Next slide. I would propose that we maintain an advisory board, but I would like to reorganize the advisory board, very similar to Commissioner Thomas's recommendation. We would broaden the board. We would put various county stakeholders, appoint them, invite them to join the board. I think this will give a much greater perspective to the foundation, to the commissioners, to the direction of the museum, and it will also help create buy-in and make the museum better in the long run. This advisory board would assist in guiding the museum forward to reach long-term goals with accountability that will serve as the eyes and ears of the commissioners. The commissioners still own the museum, and although they would not micromanage it, they could lean on this board if there were ever any disputes or there needed to be, that needed to be addressed. Attempts to be more successful than the last board with gridlock. So basically, in my view, having 3 from the Historical Society, 3 from the foundation, not getting along, and then 3 outsiders, that was a board that was very tough to get anything done with. If we follow Commissioner Thomas's recommendation, we can get into details later. I think that would unlock that and create a much more vibrant, productive board. Next slide. In summary, I believe this accentuates the strengths of each of these entities. We gained some big picture planning marketing, other strategies with foundation leadership, while retaining the institutional knowledge of the Historical Society volunteers. This leads to a better product at the museum and a lower cost to the county taxpayers. So why would we turn the foundation, the operations over to the foundation? Well, they are a 501c3 nonprofit. They have a dedicated, stable funding source. They're making it so the museum becomes less reliant on public funding from the county to keep its doors open. I think a change in administrative structure is warranted, fresh ideas, different perspective. Although the foundation does not exactly get everything they want, as they proposed in July, they still have an opportunity to be very involved in the operation and the direction of the museum. The Historical Society volunteers and the former director, Tanya, they don't get everything they want, but Tanya keeps her employment with the county while being able to continue to be actively involved with the museum. The county doesn't save as much as it could by turning everything over to the foundation, but it saves a significant amount of money. And I think it makes the museum, as we talked about, less reliant in the future on the county. Again, no one gets everything that they want. So what's next? With the COVID challenge, I don't think immediate public opening is possible. We had this discussion before. I would like to see a 4-month, trying to frame up a realistic timeline for the museum to get open. I think 4 to 5 months is needed. We could open sometime in March. During that period of time, we would form our advisory board immediately and to begin to work out devising the structure and duties. I've talked to our county prosecutor, and he feels very strongly that we could do this. We would complete the inventory immediately, and I would propose that we don't open till the inventory is completed. 4 to 5 months should be adequate time, especially with Historical Society and foundation members all working on this. We would review and prioritize current and future projects. We create a marketing and events calendar. I would suspect that the Chamber Visitors Bureau would have a member on the advisory board, and they would be very involved with this as well. And then we would approve a 2021 budget and work on our long-term capital projects before the end of the year. So with that, it's my thoughts. I'll open it up for any discussions, commissioners.
Okay, thoughts, Mr. Thomas?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what the motion is. Is it exactly the structure that Commissioner Paradiso talked about? Is there anything in there that needs to be modified? Can we maybe break it down to what the specific motion should be, Commissioner Paradiso?
Well, if you like this idea, then I would make a motion that we move forward with. It's going to take a little bit of work in these first 30 days to get everything firmed up, executed, get the train on the right tracks. And then I think after that, we take a step back and we go forward. So I guess the motion of the part, we would award the 3-year contract subject to final editing and approval to the foundation. We would bring Tanya back on an hourly rate at 30 hours a week. And we would begin immediately selecting the advisory board and moving forward. I would be glad to take the lead as the commissioner on this and report back ongoing. I don't know exactly how that would work.
I'm just not sure, Commissioner. You talked about reopening the museum sometime in March. At what point are you proposing that we have Tanya be a paid as a part-time employee?
I would say the next week or so, as soon as we could get everything put together, and they would begin inventory, cleaning. They could get in there right away under the the umbrella of the foundation. But I think we could bring back next week might be more appropriate to lay out the exact timeline of what would happen when. In the meantime, I could keep moving forward with the process.
I guess if it's okay with you, Commissioner Thomas, what I'd like to do is maybe have Tony talk to all the parties involved during the course of this week, come up with some specific timelines and a specific motion. Because I like his presentation. I just am not sure that there is a real clear motion in that. I think have you had conversation, Commissioner Paradiso, with all parties, and are they willing to accept? Okay. Okay.
I have talked to them, but not about what I just proposed.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to accept the motion if you want to make it now, but I think maybe it could be clearer next week as to exactly what that motion is.
Shane, you're the veteran.
Yeah, no, I want to express my support. I appreciate your hard work on this, and we need a framework to move forward. This, isn't exactly what I had in mind, but it's very, very, very good. And I think that, we need to resolve this, and I think, the work's done here. So if you can get everybody to agree to this proposal, I would be happy to support it.
Okay. And my sense is the same. So if you want to move forward, Commissioner Paradiso, and have those conversations this week and then put it in a formal motion for next week's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's our direction with that. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much for your hard work on that. Okay, Cooperative Development Agreement, Stacy.
Yes, make sure I got these up here. City of Tiffin reviewed theirs on Monday and I think approved by emergency. These are the agreements authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a second addendum to the Cooperative Development Agreement with the City of Tiffin, the Board of Trustees of Eden Township, also a resolution to the same with the City of Tiffin and Hopewell Township, and with the county, the City of Tiffin, and the trustees of Clinton Township.
Yeah, and all parties, as I understand it, have agreed to this at this point.
Correct.
So we would need a motion to be part of the Cooperative Development Agreement.
So moved.
Second, Thomas.
Thank you. Nikki, roll call, please. Any additional discussion?
I think it should be noted that these are 20-year agreements, and Commissioner Kirchner was part of the agreement 20 years ago.
I appreciate the reminder everybody of that. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, David Zach said, he thinks this is the last window to do it. I said, don't be so sure. Okay, Nikki, roll call.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner.
Yes. Okay, on to new business, Steve.
Okay, I have a couple of financials. I have, I guess I could share my screen. Only two of them. Share. Okay, I have a supplemental appropriation from the Job and Family Services, put $25,000 into their contract services, additional funds needed for the WIA expenses. I have a request, this is actually from the auditor's office. State auditors had, excuse me, not state auditors, OPERS was doing some auditing and found that the PERS calculations when Mr. Briggs was sheriff was not reported correctly. It was only at the 14% instead of the 18.1%. So we have to make up for that difference. The dates, obviously you can see on the screen, February to November. So the additional would be totaling $4,349.96.
Are those up on the VIP system yet?
What's that?
Are those up on the VIP system for approval yet?
Yes. I haven't sent them through yet. I usually wait until you guys vote before I push those through.
I find that interesting that that was in 2010. And this is now being brought to our attention. Is this a normal, does this happen periodically?
This is the first one I've seen. The OPERS contacted the auditor's office. I don't know if this was just a matter of maybe he's retiring and they were calculating it out. I'm not sure of the history why this come about now. But this is when he was appointed by the Central Committee to be the sheriff. And then in November, Sheriff Eckleberry came in. So it was just the wrong rate. It's the first time I've seen this. So.
Okay. Got it.
Right. I have a request from the prosecutor's office. They are requesting a special prosecution regarding a criminal investigation due to a conflict of interest within the prosecutor's office. The letter requests the board appoint Attorney Rhonda Best, a special prosecutor, to handle this matter, including clerical services and investigatory assistance. She will be at a rate of $100 per hour, not to exceed $1,500. I have the resolution for authorizing the emergency management services contract with the Seneca County Local Emergency Planning Commission on behalf of the Seneca Emergency Management Agency. This is a contract with LEPC we've done for the last 5 or 6 years. EMA gets a total of, I want to say, find the contract real quick. 90% of the funding that they receive, so it's a total of $19,108. Next I have is amending the board's orders of August 20th, Resolution 2154 to designate the official representative and alternate for purposes of voting at the annual meeting, County Commissioners Association. I think this is for Commissioner Kirshner as the designated and Tony Paradiso as the alternate. Then I also have, if I can find the resolution, setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the sale of county-owned property pursuant to ORC 307.09 and 307.10. This is for the parking lot section behind the church, the judge's parking lot. This is set for Thursday, November 5th at 10 a.m. here in our office.
Just to add a little bit there, I got a couple calls from a couple of citizens asking, why all of a sudden we can give property to the church for this project without having a bidding process. This is indeed the bidding process. They had suggested that our Jefferson Street Radio Commissioner's office was not bid, nor were properties up by the airport bid. The fact is that all those were bid under this same Ohio Revised Code. So anytime the county has a reason to rid itself of property or to sell a piece of property, there is a bidding process that occurs every time.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to make
Stacy, had we considered leasing this property?
We did.
That wasn't the direction I got at the last meeting.
Yeah, we had that discussion, Shane, with the church and with the prosecutor, and the thought process was it was just a lot cleaner and a lot easier to move through this process.
Okay, I would be open to that too. If
yeah, I agree. That's one of the first things I talked about. So
okay.
I think that's all the resolutions I have.
Okay, so if I can get a motion to accept the new business items, the supplemental appropriations, the appointment, and the spending.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional discussion about these matters? Hearing none. Nikki, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes. Okay, the time has come for open line Friday, except it's Thursday. So anyone out there, Jimmy, that would like to make any comments, have any questions?
Yep, and I don't see anything in the chat right now, but do remember if you're on the phone line, you can hit *6 to unmute. If you're joining us on your mobile device or your computer, you can just hit the unmute button and come forward now.
Yeah, we got a lot of ground covered today, so.
PSA, early voting's open.
That's right, that's of October 6th. Get out there. Vote
I voted.
early.
You should too.
Commissioners, this has been, if I could just make a couple comments quickly.
Nope.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mr. Nutter.
Well,
Ben, thank you for accepting that waste from the land bank.
Yeah, for sure.
You're very welcome. That was a very worthwhile project. Paul Harrison did a great job of coordinating that, and we're happy to partner with the county, at any time on projects like that. That very much is in the interest of the public, and we want to be partners on that. Just wanted to let you know that we continue to operate under the COVID-19 pandemic. And that has not slowed us down at all, as we are an essential business. We last week went into our new cell, so we're placing waste, which is to the east of the South Hill. And I just wanted to, publicly again, make sure everybody understands that the area just north of 224 is a borrow area for stone and dirt, and it will eventually be a big lake. That we want to do something cool with, that will allow the public access to that and that kind of thing. So we had some concerns that we were moving the landfill to the south, and that is not the case at all. And we're actually doing something kind of cool. We're actually mining the stone out of that area, so that way we don't have to have trucks on the road, dump trucks and all of that stuff. So it's more friendly to the environment. So and just wanted to ask if anybody has any questions for me. I'm happy to answer them.
Okay. Thank you, previous Commissioner Nutter.
Thank you.
Mike, Nikki reminded me that we did get an annexation request yesterday, and according to our agreements, we have to process it at the very next board meeting, which would be today. So I do have a resolution she prepared accepting and authorizing the annexation of real estate in the territory of Hopewell Township to the city of Tiffin, Seneca County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Good. All right. Nikki?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes.
Congratulations, Rich Zeiss. He's doing a nice project there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else to be brought before this board meeting today, October 8th, 2020? Hearing none, 11:36 a.m. We are adjourned.